and I popped up on the screen downstairs on my cell phone. So, if you'll permit me, I'm gonna pop back upstairs on on the one that's a little more sticky, if that's okay.
All right.
Okay.
No feedback. So Kevin, where you gonna be? I'm just gonna be here for
You don't go far.
Quarterbacking.
trying to engineer this thing. What about Doris?
Doris, you need to be,
Hey, this is the group. No. Everybody who has something
Mama,
to say
son, you're
should be
small
in
business and this is a big part of it.
Come on.
She's got a regional look. Get over here, Doris. I'll come
Oh, we
closer.
can get you in. That's no big deal.
Dan, you wanna come by?
Yes.
I'm looking at a camera over here.
Are you
We're not blocked. Nobody's blocked. It's all good.
If we can go next week, that would be.
My computer's the only one not doing
After we're done with
anything.
DMC.
Like it's there.
You know how cameras make the room
I was
look
off
bigger,
last
too,
week because
so
I was trying to get my film done.
Folks will think we got a giant table.
Oh, good.
I remember doing that Warner Brothers tour and they showed the inside of the coffee house from Friends.
Oh, yes.
And you can walk across the whole thing in like 3 steps.
Yes.
Cappuccino machine.
Right. And after seeing that, I would count the steps of the people when they were, because when you look at it on TV, it looks much bigger. But yeah, sure enough.
Think about the size of actors. It's like Tom Cruise is 5'7", so he's a small guy, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is pretty. Not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sylvester Stallone is pretty short too.
Yeah.
That's what makes them look
Let's,
big.
let's try to shift gears.
I
You're
sure
gonna have
would
to
wanna see
mute
myself.
your.
I hate seeing myself
Back
on
into
camera.
the camera somehow.
It's like an Amazon.
The camera corrects everyone to 5'7", so or 5'8". So the problem is that if you're tall, the camera makes you look fat. For example, David Hasselhoff was really skinny, but he would always photograph fat because your musculature is different.
All right.
Okay.
I prefer not to go this route. We may end up having to go this route. Let's see what happens here. Let's see here.
Okay.
All right, I was trying to.
Which one?
Oh, but I get
To where?
this way.
Sorry, guys.
I think you want to rotate it the other way.
Okay, yeah, that works. Okay.
I don't know. I was trying to go to I was trying to go to my computer. I don't know if I can switch over or not. Is that possible? Because you guys are looking at my chest, man.
Yeah.
I was trying to.
Don't you love it? I do. It's like,
Well, just remember the days when we used to have this at Fremantle, and the setup was like $150,000.
yeah, right? Right. Oh my gosh. Hello, come on in. Come on in.
I remember those days.
Rory Combs.
Hello, Michelle.
I'm Rory.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Rory. Alex Davis. Good to meet you.
Hey,
Hi, Rory. Dan Watanabe. Pleasure to meet you.
all. Absolutely.
Me?
So the kid's gonna be talking to us?
I have no idea.
Hi, Jill. Dan Watanabe. Pleasure to meet you.
Play
Alex
cards
Davis.
here.
Hi.
Are we waiting for the
Hello,
kids to talk
Michelle.
to us, or are
Hello.
So, there you go.
Are we waiting for the kids to talk to us, or can we just start
I
the
feel like we've
conversation?
been on a call together at some point.
We may have. So I'm the executive director of arts for the district.
Oh, that's right. He was waiting for you. Yes.
Rory, do you work with Esther Sullivan at all?
Of course.
Yeah.
And Lynn Carney.
Yep, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Thank you.
So we'll be waiting.
Wait.
I think we're gonna need to mute some mics.
Terrence?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, Terrence, I'm gonna need you clear.
There you go.
I was asking the ladies at the table, can they hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So can the fellas at the table.
I got to admit, I figured if I can address the ladies for sure, the gentlemen are listening. So I'm
You
good.
got that right.
Jay, I know you were a comedian.
Oh, wow.
Certainly not in my own.
Hopefully, Kevin, you think, man.
Can you guys all see the hangout in the computer?
No.
Like, do you all see what
That's
the
what you're-
broadcast looks like?
Oh.
We can see your face.
See me, I mean,
Yeah,
you're
we
seeing
see-
yourselves, right?
No.
We see whoever's talking.
Kevin has it.
Okay, this is what you guys are looking like of the outside world right now.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
And then I'm changing the camera
Oh,
here.
Okay.
well, if the camera's there,
Okay.
I hate to just see the back of my head.
Right.
It looks fun, sir.
Kevin, are we waiting for the kids to ask us questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, so Jay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to see if we can bring in the kids, cause they're on the tightest time frame right now.
Yeah.
So, Robert? If
Yes.
you can try to see if we can bring up the kids at Kennedy instead of General Bray or anybody else.
I mean, the thing is, they need to have the link and click the link because they were there earlier in the other hangout. And so I don't know if you want to switch to the other hangout or if you want to just have.
Actually, yeah, let's do that.
Okay,
Let's switch to them.
let's try that.
Switch to them.
Let's try that to the best of our abilities. Excuse me, sir.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Awesome.
Love the technical challenges.
Oh, gosh,
They'll
yes.
get it, they'll figure it out.
It's crazy. I love it. Well, welcome to my office. Where we are all hanging out together.
That's right.
So now, all of you are at SC or from all?
I'm at
Depends
Los
on what you
Angeles
mean.
City
We're all
College.
literally at SC right now.
No, he is the comedian, okay?
Jay, behave.
No, Michelle and I work at USC.
Okay.
I work at the Marshall School. Michelle Michelle is the Black Alumni Association.
Thank you. I'm the executive director of the Black Alumni Association and work with Jay
Alright,
a
so
lot.
they're just gonna stay on the hangout that they're on. They're still on that hangout.
The thing is, I can go to that hangout without leaving this hangout.
Okay, if you guys, he just sent you a new hangout link, so see if you can go to the newest one. The newest.
Tell them I'm sending Aaron an email with the new hangout link.
That's the one you.
Got it.
Okay.
Kevin? He's sending Aaron a new email with the new link.
Okay, I just told him that.
Perfect. So they should be joining us momentarily. Excuse me?
I was gonna say,
Okay, guys.
I'm at AT&T. I work
Okay.
in the newly formed entertainment
Entertainment
group
license,
in
maybe
El
just do
Segundo.
some intros, go around and see if everybody's introduced themselves.
We're, actually have AT&T, one of our grant applications for the tech hire
Once we get the kids up, we'll go
initiative, and
immediately to them,
they're gonna actually be
and then they'll
training
introduce
incumbent
themselves,
workers
and then we
with
wanna have
telecommunications. You
Okay.
probably know all
Lead the
about that.
discussion with the kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably.
So we're hoping to get that grant.
But in the
It's
meantime,
been interesting working
you're saying,
with
so
Kevin.
everybody
has
can hear
been-
us now?
Okay, you're talking to AT&T over here. You gotta keep talking to those folks, cause there's nothing I can do for you on that side. Like, you know, it's been interesting working the labyrinth.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's a lot that gets done, but you have to know how to tap into it.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is it's not that easy.
So siloed, you know, the work is,
There's that, and then there's individual agendas.
And the merger's so new, I'm sure that people are still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, the merger is, there's a lot to merge. I mean, it's not just the businesses, it's the culture, it's, you know, there's a lot
that's
to
the big
merge.
piece, the culture.
It's a big one.
It's a lot to merge.
Hey, good to see you. And you have General Bray. And then you have a room full of folks that Kevin will introduce
Okay,
at USC.
great.
Well, I guess I can do the introductions. Let me know if I'm in frame, Robert.
You're in frame.
Okay, all right, folks, in the outside world, we're here at Social Media Week, Los Angeles. We're at Social Media Week, Los Angeles, at the campus of USC, hosted by the USC Black Alumni Association,
Fight on.
Michelle Turner. So we want to thank her for hosting us. Can I get a round of applause?
All right.
Thank you. We have our moderator, Jay Tucker, USC Marshall School of Business. He's going to help to direct us towards a solution to helping to build the virtual pipeline to getting kids in Southern California and beyond into digital media and technology career pathways. I'm going to actually start to introduce people around the table here. So I'll start to Jay's left. This is Jay Tucker, again, moderator. We have Doris Driver, and I'll have everybody introduce who they are a little bit later. I'm sorry. So we have Doris Driver, got Dan Watanabe, LA High Tech, Dr. Dean Alex Davis, Michelle Turner, Yvonne Harmon, and Rory Pullins, LAUSD. And these are the people who are going to help us figure out how we can get all of our initiatives, all of our programs into one bundle so that we can get better at making sure these opportunities are available for all the parents and teachers who are out there trying to get a competitive advantage. So without further ado, I want Jay to be able to kind of get us started with introducing students from JFK High School in Granada Hills, an arts magnet.
Well, we should probably jump right in. If the students are online, perhaps they have a couple of questions. But let's start letting them introduce themselves. Students, I think I can see you over my shoulder. Do you want to tell us who you are?
Hi, I'm Marino. I'm Juliet Tucker.
And I'm Aaron Sluss. I'm a teacher of the filmmaking pathway for architecture, design, film, and magnet.
Okay. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I'm Aaron Sluss, and I'm the
That's great. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you do for the kids and what you're hoping they'll go on to do after they graduate?
Sure. It's a 3-year filmmaking pathway, so they learn everything from the basics of filmmaking, screenwriting, editing, all the way up. Just be prepared. Really.
That's wonderful. So there's a couple of people at this table that I'm sure might have some questions for you. Probably starting with Dan Watanabe.
Yes, hi, how are you? I was actually a graduate of film school 30-something years ago. So yes, I've been around for a while. I worked with the company that is now known as Fremantle Media. You might recognize them from having done American Idol, America's Got Talent, and all of that. I was with them during the era when they did Baywatch and Price is Right and Family Feud. So I'm here to help advocate for you how to get into the entertainment industry, because one of the big truths is that it takes too long, then it happens too fast. And the other challenge that we're always faced with is that it looks like there's not enough minority outreach. Well, if this fat kid from Tokyo could get to be a vice president of that multinational corporation, all of you have no excuse. You will be able to do it too. So, under my grant, as a help for all of you, is that we have a group of professional experts who can come and guest lecture, provide mentorships, and actually help your instructor with curriculum development and all of that. So we can do panels, we can do workforce development, we can help out. So that's what we're here for. In fact, our technician right now is Robert Reber, who was my student at one point, and now he teaches the teachers because he knows technology better than most of the regular instructors. So if you have any direct career questions, feel free to ask.
All right, and we'll also take a moment to talk a little bit about the job landscape. Yvonne is here from AT&T. Do you have any questions or comments for this crew?
A couple comments in terms of how you prepare. So, because one of the things that people always ask is, how do you get into television? And when I worked at Verizon for Terry Denson, his answer to that was always, I don't know. Because everyone comes at it through a different path. Everyone that I work with has an entirely different story about how they got there. But the one thing that is uniform throughout all of their stories is that they worked really hard at what they were doing at the time. And so, regardless of where you're trying to go, never forget where you are. Because to get where you want to go, you have to do well where you are. So I'll tell you how I ended up in television, because it's really that random. So I was working at Verizon. I had graduated from law school. I was a contractor for Verizon. I'd been doing that for 2 years in their media department. They had to let me go because of union rules. I was a week from being unemployed. I went one floor upstairs from where I was working at Verizon to the floor that Terry Denson's content team worked on to heat up my breakfast in the microwave. Wow. He walked by. I had on my Seton Hall University Law School sweatshirt. He turned around, he came back, he asked me, "Do you go to law school?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Tell me about yourself." So I told him I had a law degree, I had an MBA, that I was just about to get fired and all of that. And he was like, "Wait here." And I got interviewed for the job, and I got that job that day, and wow. I ended up moving from being a contractor to working for his team. Wow. But it was that random. So my point is, opportunity knocks, and it's about being ready when the door opens, because the door can open at any moment, any moment.
Right. But the key is that you were in the building first.
Right.
So one of the things we need for these young people is to try to talk to them about how they actually get in the building in the first place.
Right. Right.
I think, too, a couple of key things that she also mentioned were that she had a law degree and an MBA. If you look at job listings right now, you know, whether you would use an Indeed or a Monster or whatever job search engine you're going to look at, much of the value, even at entry-level positions now, is looking for something that you can bring to the table new, that people who've been in the business a long time don't have. They're looking for social media skills. They're looking for legal skills, because now we're in an age where it's very easy to create content, but then the questions are who owns it and who can monetize it. And these are the questions that are rising to the top of the industry right now. If you are also, still along that line, if you're a person who is going to create content, then you have to be really good at writing. You have to be well read. You have to be exposed to environments that are going to give you a great platform, because it's a hard industry to break into. Yeah. So it's not just the technical side, I guess is what I'm stressing.
No, this is an important point, and you and I have talked about this in the past. The increasing amount of formal education that creators need to have to be successful in the space. Mm-hmm. And we see that there are investments being made on this campus to make sure that we've got the best of the best in terms of resources, instructors, et cetera, to take young people from having a vision to actually being able to have a plan.
Yes, right? Yes. So
I hate to mention it, but one of the best skills that you can have is be a good keyboardist. Have a good typing speed and know Microsoft Office, because I can't tell you how much of my career is based on the fact I could type 120 words a minute. Mm-hmm. You get in the door, and then the people there discover you. And how you get discovered is anyone's guess.
Yeah, and the other thing, I want to echo what Dan just said. The other thing is that employers are looking for a workforce that's proactive and that can navigate their way around the workspace instead of waiting for a formula to be handed to them. Mm-hmm. So build the relationships with your faculty, with your administrators, go to the career center, make sure you are able to get internships. If you're at the age where you can go out into and learn the space, you have to learn the space and know the culture, of the industry, of the employer sites that you may go visit, or guest speakers that may come into your classroom. You have to understand what that space is like, because if they have an opportunity to interview and hire someone who understands the space that they're working in, as opposed to someone who's never had a practical experience in that space, they're going to hire that person that's familiar with that space. And so if you have the opportunity to do work-based learning, to attend campus events at the college level, You need to make the sacrifice. You may have to sacrifice some social activity to just stay focused on your goal. And as Yvonne mentioned, you have to make sure you're prepared. You never know when you're being interviewed. My last 2 jobs, I was recruited. I had no idea that having a conversation, a casual conversation, was an interview. And so you never know when you're talking to an employer or an industry rep, they may be interviewing you. They want to know the real person. They don't want to know the person on the resume. They want to know who you are as a person and what your character is like. Foundational skills, are you able to get along with people in the workplace? Do you respect others in the workplace? Some of the things are not necessarily taught in the classroom. So get as much practical experience you can with the career path that you've chosen.
Well, go ahead, Betty.
And one thing, and it kind of goes with what people are saying, is be flexible. You may want to do X, but you might not be able to do X. Don't be afraid to do Y, because Y might get you back to X. A lot of times people stay so focused on their goal and the path that they're on, they don't realize there are multiple paths to get to where you want to be.
That's true.
So flexibility is also really important, because what you might not see as a real opportunity could really be an amazing opportunity for you once you get into it. So don't say no to things, and that kind of goes to the whole being prepared for your opportunity when it shows up. It doesn't look like sometimes what you expect it to look like. It doesn't always show up the way people told you that it would. So sometimes you have to sit back and go, okay, what is this opportunity, and does it have what am I going to learn? And if you're going to learn something new, you should go for it.
You should go for it.
Just go for it, because in the end, it's going to work out. Even though it may not look like it, it might look like something that's way to the left. It will, I guarantee you, some way, somehow, it will bring you back to where you want to go.
That's true.
That's beautiful. That's right. So going back to this point about career pathways, not turning down opportunities. Make sure you can type.
Yeah.
So how do our young people actually find out about the kinds of opportunities that are out there where they can leverage the skills they have? How do they even discover that these opportunities exist? How are they made aware of where they can potentially start a career?
Yeah, well, so, good afternoon, Mr. Lemos and students. Since you're one of my schools and I've been out there, I do know your program. But when we talk about discovering, yourself and what skill sets you need to be in order to be successful, I actually want to ask the students a question, and then you're going to discover why I'm asking this question. Because you're in high school, and I really believe that's too late. Right? In K-12 education here in LAUSD, we service 750,000 students. The earlier we can begin to expose our students in elementary school to career pathways that exist, because these young people are digital natives, they're very comfortable with technology, and they're already creating content. Even in 3rd, 4th grade, they're doing this and that. So the earlier we can begin to shape that in elementary school and in middle school, by the time you get to high school, you can have a clearer sense of where you want to go. So students, can you share with us, when were you introduced to this world of filmmaking, to this media world? Was it while you were in high school, or did you get exposed in your middle school or even elementary schools? I'm kind of curious to hear where you were introduced to this formally.
Well, when I was first introduced to it, I was in the 2nd grade, and it was just to learn all of the days in the month, and they'd show me like a little clip, and it would sing a song, and it would involve every single day of the month, and it was something like they'd ask me questions and little quizzes, and it was little games. So that's when I first actually used the computer at school. I didn't think it was going to be something that I'd be doing so often, but over the years throughout middle school and high school, I have been using a lot of technology.
Okay.
And for me, I think it was mostly in elementary school when they taught you how to type on the computer. We had little games that you would play on the computer, but for film, beforehand I had always been interested in writing. And then when I came to high school, I was introduced to the filmmaking magnet, and then that's when I got into it now. through the projects that we do in this program, I've learned that it's something that I really like to do, and that's how I've become more exposed to film. Yeah, same for me. Like, before, I thought I was more interested in like the fashion industry, which I still am. I still think it's a really cool thing. But when I found film, I saw how hands-on it was, and I like really thought to myself like, this is what I want to do, because the best way for me to learn is like if I'm like hands-on and I really see it.
Sure. So how did you get your internship? How did you get involved with the internship?
Our teacher actually told us about it. It was, what's it called? The TIP. Yeah, TIP LA Fun. Yeah, so it was that. We had to make a little short video about ourselves. I think it's supposed to be like about a minute long. So we just told them like what we've done at school, what experiences we already have. And yeah, we had to submit it. And of course we had to submit like resumes and such. And we actually ended up getting internships, and Stephanie got, I'm working with Bad Robot over the summer.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
thank you.
Yeah, these are paid internships as
Oh,
well.
that's even better.
That's even better.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we need to do more to get that, as Rory said, it may be too late when they're in high school. So my question to you is, how do we make those connections where we don't see high school as something lesser than college to get these kids experience? The problem I have is trying to make these connections that, well, your students are in high school, we can't serve you or we can't assist you. And maybe by the time they get out of here, they have more experience than a college student would coming out of a program such as mine. So it gets a little frustrating at times. So how can we make those connections?
Can I
I
drag,
actually, sorry.
I was going to ask Doris to jump in here, and Dan too, because I think that one of the answers to that question has to do with the role that our community colleges play in partnership with the high school. So Doris, if you want to jump in and then Dan.
Sure. I mean, I can tell you on a professional level, it's well, let me just go down to basics. And the basic is you have to keep talking and telling people what you want to do. And that's a personal experience, because I knew what I wanted to do at 14, and I never stopped being bold and asking people about it, because when you ask someone, that leads to an opportunity. So when don't get shy at events, or you never know, it could be in Starbucks and you just happen to hear somebody talk about something you're interested in. Be bold and say, oh, I'm interested in that field. I'm at such and such high school, and this is what I'd like to do. So I'm going to encourage you not to be shy, and really, because you're the future. So most people that are already established, and I would say research someone that's already doing what you want to do, and create a relationship. I'm going to date myself. I've 15 years plus in the music industry. I actually wrote to music industry executives at your age. And someone responded, and that's how I was able to get into the industry. So always research where you want to be, and connect with them. Be bold. And as far as my position is concerned, the beauty about I do exactly what Dan does, except my sector is small business and entrepreneurship. Investigate a possibility of maybe starting your own pathway and becoming an entrepreneur. Don't shy away from that possibility as well. There are great skills that you can develop that you may already have in high school, leadership skills that are transferable to own your own business at high school. Real quick, and then finally, what we do is we actually, to answer the instructor, we actually bring industry partners into your classroom. That's what our job is. So if you contact us, we will bring an industry partner, and if you say that you have students that are interested in, well, in this case for film, being a director, associate a director, we will bring those individuals in, and that starts it. As well as no job is too small, whether it's a temp job, internship. We also have professionals that actually will interview you once you become of age. But they'll still talk to you to talk about your interview skills, your soft skills, your listening skills, your communication skills. All those are important, no matter, as well as your technical skills.
There's a couple of programs that I oversee at Los Angeles City College, which is the internship program, where you can, at the high school level, you can get an internship where you can get college credit. And so that goes into articulation. So we have articulation agreements with LAUSD where a high school student can take a college introductory course, which really speeds up or accelerates your progress to obtaining a certificate or an associate degree. So you can actually earn up to 11 units, and maybe more with the new AB 288. You can actually earn college credits while you're at high school, while you're earning your high school diploma, and you're on the track to earning a certificate or degree. So ask around about internship programs where you get college credit, because that does exist in the Los Angeles Community College District.
Actually, that's what I wanted to mention as well. Sorry.
Oh.
It's because over the summer, we don't have the dates yet, but we're going to be doing production assistant boot camp, which is going to count as internship units at the community college level. And what that will be is it will be a 60-hour intensive course where you'll be taken through all of the things that are necessary to be an assistant, whether it be in the front office, on the set, in post-production, in distribution, in marketing. So we're going to cover the entire gamut from top to bottom and have people who are experts come in and do actual physical projects so that it counts for that internship, mentorship, job, workplace development, and all of that.
And some of them are transferable to CSUs and UCs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So make sure you send that stuff to me so I can push out to all of our schools.
Okay.
That,
Yes.
all of our film and
I will
art
have
schools.
Doug Marriott contact you on that because
Sure.
he's the one who's arranging that
That
right
would
now.
be great.
But let me just kind of get in here too with regard to the environment that we're sitting in, which is USC. So,
Hey, I'm a grad.
what I just want to make a couple of points. One, if you are serious about this business, everything that you do at a young age is going to help you. Our film school here is one of the most competitive film schools in the world. What do we look for? We look for students who at a very early age have started to show product, interest, something tangible in terms of their work, in terms of taking the initiative to create opportunity for themselves. We have students who have a resume already that is attached to their college profile. And so in this business, when we're talking about creativity and innovation, it starts very, very early. And now with the age that we're in, so this space of digital media and information sharing, it's interesting because we're starting to see what students do younger and younger and younger and younger. So the internships that you have the opportunity to get in now make sense. There is nothing that you couldn't do that wouldn't strengthen your profile if indeed you're trying to come into the college setting.
And let me say that if you are interested in being a content creator, you need to have created content. If you are coming to someone like an NBC Universal, like a Viacom, and you want to be a content creator, they're going to ask you what you have already done.
That's right.
So it is important to be entrepreneurial. Whether you own a business or not, you have to think about yourself as a business, and you have to develop yourself as a business. You have to have a brand. You have to know what your brand is and what it represents. And that all has to be finely tuned when you get to the door, because the person who's hiring you doesn't have time to do that for you.
Right.
You have to know who you are and what you're bringing in to the table when you walk in the door. So, and you only get there by creating your content. So you guys were saying that, you've done these short videos and you've already done minute stuff. You need to do more of that. And it doesn't need to be assignments. If you like something kind of cool, why not make like a little 15-minute reality show about your block? And you do 5 episodes of that. That's your content. But you want to do something that shows that you can do this job. Because that's what people will be looking for from you. And the other thing that is important to understand, that I'll just drop and let go, is as minorities, your bar is always higher. Always. And you can't get frustrated about it. You can't get upset about it. You have to very early on accept it and work towards it. Like it will be self-defeating if you get wrapped up in it. So and the only reason I'm saying that is because you may find that what you created was, let's say B level, but yours didn't get accepted and somebody else's who was maybe a little bit worse than yours in quality did. Sometimes that's what's going to happen based on, who you are and what you're representing and all that. Can't get frustrated. You kind of just got to keep plugging away at it and work through that.
And that's where having the direct experiences that internships provide and that connections with institutions of higher learning and corporations and so on can provide will help you with. Now, one of the things we haven't touched on is the connection that we can make as folks who are a little bit more seasoning and a little bit more experience with young people in their roles. Can you guys talk a little bit about the ways in which young people can plug into finding a mentor or somebody else who can advise them in and around the organizations that you work in and with?
Even here at USC, our students of color need mentorship because in industries where we haven't really been, the way that we accelerate our connections and our learning is through people that help us do it quicker so we can be faster and more agile and frankly more confident to walk into opportunities that normally we would just be kind of quiet about, for cultural reasons or just because we're one of few. So a lot of what we're talking about here at this table means that you've got to break out of that shell, and a mentor can help you do that. How do you find a mentor? There's two ways that you can do it. You can do it informally or formally. Informally means when you see a speaker who comes to your school, let's say, or you're in an environment that you take yourself into and you're interested in what they're saying, then after that presentation is over, you walk up to them, you introduce yourself, you trade email information, you take the initiative to tell him, I'm interested in what you just said, it excites me, I hope that we can talk further. And frankly, you got your connection in the door because adults are always very intrigued by that young person who has enough courage to come up and take the initiative to talk to them. And any adult worth their salt is going to make time to talk to you, help you, teach them what we know. The formal way is in an environment like SC, we have a mentoring program here. We offer it to all of our students, but do all of our students take that opportunity? No. But the ones that do graduate. So we have spent an immense amount of time on how these experts should be helping you in our formal system. But there are plenty of ways, to insist on mentorship, and you should be doing that. People that you're meeting in these internships, find one or two that you can establish these relationships and even ask one or two of them to be your mentor. And they will stay with you throughout your entire matriculation, probably lifelong. So I would absolutely encourage you to do that.
And if you, so you have someone that you're interested in mentoring you, I would advise you to have growth goals. How do you want to expand your skills? Is it leadership? Make sure you have growth goals that you want to achieve. I had a really awesome mentor. His name is John H. Johnson. He's no longer here. And for 20 years, I was under his tutelage. And he really prepared me for corporate America. Had I not had his impact on my life, I probably wouldn't be a dean in academic affairs, an instructional dean, which is not common for African American women in the Los Angeles Community College District. And so, but then also look at your peers. You may have a peer that you admire that can also help you achieve some of your goals as well. Other students beget other students, and peer-to-peer mentoring is really something that you can't discount because you keep each other accountable in a way that your parents can keep you accountable, your teacher can keep you accountable. When you have that bond with someone that's, your age and at your school, but you got to watch people, you got to observe, making sure that they are going down a path that you want to go down. So don't discount peer-to-peer mentoring. There may be other students that have that drive, and you wanna be infected by that. So have your goals in mind when if you do walk up to someone. You may pick your mentor, they may pick you, right? So sometimes you got to pick them. You got to be smart and proactive and pick your mentor. So that's what I have to say about that.
Two things. Number one, next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we are having an event at Valley College. It's called the West Coast Writers Conference. And at the West Coast Writers Conference, we will be having a lot of individual breakout workshops. We're going to be having guest speakers come in and talk about the entire process of writing. If any of you are interested in attending, all you need to do is drop me an email. I will make sure you are registered and you will get in for free. And you can come any of the days. You can stay as long as you like. I know it's a bit of a pain to go from where you are to Valley College, and there's a transportation issue. We do this 3 times a year. So if you can't make this one, come to the next one. And I'd like to actually toss to someone else. Robert. Robert is someone who is very close to you guys in age. He's someone who has been amazing in being able to move himself forward. So I was going to ask Robert, how do you present yourself to people to get people to mentor you?
Just asking. I've actually met both of them before at Digital Insiders or Digital Media something Hollywood. And so we showed them this live streaming, and I interviewed them, and we talked about the Blackmagic camera as well. And so I told them a lot then, and so I'm not gonna repeat. But I I'm gonna try to I have one person on Skype, Karen Harper. I'm gonna see if I could get her to input some stuff as well. So I'm gonna try to, hopefully we don't blow everything out. Karen, can you hear us?
Even kind of what we used to call B-roll, so you need establishment shots and stuff like that will end up in other people's projects. You need somebody who can set up and run video for stuff like what we're doing right now, right? All of those are opportunities that can potentially be extremely meaningful, very rewarding, and in many cases extremely lucrative. But they're not the kinds of things that you would find out necessarily from the normal path you would take going up through school and joining the film club and stuff like that. So there's still, we should continue to talk about this question of how do young people find out what's out there.
So in light of something very different that AT&T has as an opportunity that isn't traditional, AT&T is based in Dallas. There are 2 other national hubs. One is in Atlanta, and the second one that they just created is the one I work at in El Segundo. And when there is a company-wide sort of meeting, then there are people who have to work the cameras. And so there are people in the background working cameras and working the side, like exactly what you would do in a production. There are people who do that at AT&T. And I can tell you when, my bosses and stuff need stuff done, if you've got a telepresence, they don't know what they're doing. They're picking up a phone, they're calling the video people, and the video people are coming in and setting all of that up. And that wouldn't be a path you would think about, but that's actually a huge path in AT&T because we are so diverse, because we are so wide flung. To bring everybody together requires a department that does this and does it. And because AT&T is international, there are people that do this in foreign countries for AT&T. Because again, we are wide flung, and when you have to have everybody on the phone, somebody has to coordinate that, and it's not the executives in the room.
Can I actually toss a challenge to one of you? Which of you wants to be a writer? Any of you? Any of you want to be a producer? So what is it that your career path is? What is it that you would like to do? No, practical considerations completely not there. What is it that one of you would like to do?
Dream job.
My dream job would definitely be to become a cinematographer.
Who's your favorite cinematographer?
What was that? You'd like to direct?
Yeah, director, like cinematography or editing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm sorry, I don't know your names, but for you who wants to be a cinematographer, who's your favorite cinematographer right now?
I don't have a favorite.
What's a movie that's cinematography that you really like?
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Okay, great. And for you as wants to be a director, who's your favorite director right now?
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson. Okay, so you're both looking at more of an artistic side of the entertainment industry. Have you thought of which companies you might want to target in terms of coming up with your content for the future?
No, I haven't.
I know this is going way high-end, way into other stuff. I just wanted to throw that out there as a challenge, because as you meet your mentors, what will happen is they're going to want you to be very articulate, not very articulate, but precise about what you want, because through that, they can help you move toward the goal that you want to be at. So as a director, one of the ways that a director gets in is they need a strong script. Are you partnered with someone who's a good writer?
Well, actually, most of the time we write our own scripts, and I think I'm a good writer when it comes to writing scripts.
All right, okay, you've got a couple of development people in here. Toss us one of your ideas. Because you will always be asked that in the elevator. What is it? When they're going to always say to you, what have you got?
Yeah, I was going to say, wait. So yes, this is the 30-second pitch.
30-second
You must
elevator
have
pitch.
a 30-second pitch. Whatever it is, whether it's a pitch about yourself, whether it's a pitch about your company, whether it's a pitch about your product, you need to be able to cover the important parts of that in 30 seconds. You have to have one.
Pitch.
So what's the 30-second version of the film or show that you'd like to create? Stephanie.
Let me think about it.
Okay, so let me just jump in right here. We see this all the time. And kudos to you because you are being put on the spot
Yeah,
right
totally,
now. I
totally.
know that you didn't prepare for this, but this is how, the jumps that you see, how did that person make it? Because they were ready with that. And this is just such a real example. But there are things that help you get great at this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You'll find public speaking, Toastmasters. Look for a Toastmasters chapter for young people. We actually have one here at this campus. I actually run one from my office here. Because public speaking, if you're good and quick on your feet, that is so impressive. So that is absolutely, in addition to how talented you are, you've got to get that one under your belt. The second is watch your mentors. Watch how they work and ask them, why did you do that? What was the reason for doing it this way? Because a lot of their teaching, they're not going to even think about the little things because they're so automated. But if you ask them that question, they'll stop and you'll get the full explanation, and then they're going to start teaching you in a different way. So there are things that, if you're just really intentional about being great, because I think just as a person of color, one of the ways that I was so successful, in addition to mentorship, was that I committed to being the very best. Mm-hmm. You have to question while you're young, and then you'll get it.
And also, you said your director is Wes Anderson. I say be bold, find out who Wes Anderson representative is, and write to Wes and say, I'm a product of the future. I'm interested in this. I admire your work. And you'd be surprised that they would actually answer you, or they'll have someone answer you. That's what I say about being bold. Mm-hmm. Because you have power. You're representing the future. And everyone, including everyone in this room, we all love to talk about ourselves. So you can ask them, how did you become this director? What path you took? Mm-hmm. What's your story? Mm-hmm. People love to hear young people ask those questions, so we can help and tell you how we attained our goals as well. So don't be afraid to ask.
And the more that you develop your network, the better off you are, and you would be surprised about the backgrounds of the individuals that you really least expect have actually done something in the industry. I grew up not realizing that my first cousin started a casting agency here in Los Angeles, and it grew to be the second largest African-American owned casting agency in Hollywood, and that was my first cousin. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I actually was just talking to my dad, and he said, you ever talk to your cousin Jackie Brown? And I said, no. She goes, she does the stuff that you want to go into. And so you never know. Even in my position now, young people don't even realize that, I was one of the staff writers for the TV show A Different World and for Stand and Deliver, and I started out as a sound engineer for the Isley Brothers and the group Heatwave and Natalie Cole.
They don't know. They don't know.
They don't know that because they see me in the position I'm in now. But unless you are courageous and have the conversations with people, then you discover, oh my gosh, I didn't know that's how you entered this whole industry and work. So don't be afraid to ask those questions, to really build your network, and to be bold about it.
Right, and just one little hack. We've talked a lot about face-to-face, trying to build a relationship. Understand your peers try to do a lot of stuff through SMS and texting. The more you can do face-to-face or live phone calls and so on, the more respect you'll get from older folks. Which brings me to my other point, which is, there are these things at the end of TV shows and movies and video games called credits. Yep. So when asked, well, who's your favorite cinematographer, or who's your favorite assistant director, or who's your, wow, you really like that editing, you can go look at the credits, see who was on that team, and just work your way through the whole team. See who you can find, the names that you can find, see if you can actually figure out if there's an agency that represents the person, if they live in the neighborhood, if there's, you can catch them dog walking, if they, maybe their kids go to your school, do whatever you got to do, because once you make that in-person connection, whether that's over the phone or dropping off a resume or trying to meet somebody, bumping into them in person, once you've made that connection, you'll be surprised at how responsive grown folks will be to you.
Can I just say one other thing? The other thing that we look for is for that young person who's going to put the time in and show up and work hard. There shouldn't be a job too small that you are not going to do. It may be that you feel like you're doing the smallest of things and not learning anything, but that mentor or that person is watching you as much as you are watching them. And it's that person that really wants to put that time in, work hard, stay late, and even if you can't stay late, try to do as much as you can with the time that you have, because no one wants to mentor a lazy young person. When a mentor is involved with you, they are lending you their reputation, their name, and everything that they know that they can give you. So, because you don't have those things, the best thing that you've got is your curiosity and your energy, and, show those things by showing up.
Yep.
And let me just tag on to that. You're representing that mentor. Let's say, I was real quickly, because I wanted to be in the music industry, a student's father happened to be the president of Atlantic Records, but who knew I was in the same school. So once, he didn't give me a job, by the way. He gave me a free internship after college. The goal was to complete my college degree. But more importantly, every day when I got up to go to that free internship, because it wasn't paid, I knew I was representing him. So you're representing that mentor wherever you go. So that's a badge of honor if they take you on. And just remember that. And so you're absolutely right. Showing up on time, working hard, asking questions. I think that's so important, is to ask questions.
And the other thing about when I said you have to be proactive, you may go into an internship for one thing, but there's ancillary benefits that come out that you don't expect. So this is a trial period that the employer gets with you, right? And so while you're there, if you've completed a project, volunteer for something else, right? Keep adding to your skill set. Try to, work across the organization if you can. But, the goal is to navigate your way through that organization so you can build relationships, and they will remember you. That's one of the reasons I was able to progress through Johnson Publishing Company as a young executive. I would just, when I'm done with something, I cross the finish line on something else. And so I was the go-to person. When something needed to be done, they knew they could entrust it in me, and that I would take the steps A through Z to get it done. And that way you really build your confidence. You really become a visionary. You know how to see yourself crossing the finish line. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. You have to make an impact on that employer's vision and mission, and help them advance those two things, so that economic impact has to happen at the end of the day. And that means they can stay competitive in that global market space. And you have to bring your skill set to make that happen.
So I want to take a slight segue, a little bit of a detour to talk about image. And the reason that I want to do it is because this is a very creative field. And the people who come to it are very creative people. But I work in a corporate environment. And regardless of how creative you are, you still got to be corporate, because it's always AT&T. So I say that because a lot of times I see people come to the door not understanding where they are. Like, they understand their job, they understand what they're going to interview for, but they don't understand that AT&T is based in Texas. It is a Texas company. It has Texas conservative values. And if you want to be hired by them, you have to present that, regardless of what you're coming there for. So I say that to say, remember where you're going and who you're talking to. Because you're a creative person, and there's going to be a lot of leeway that you get in terms of how you present yourself and what you say. But if you're going to someone, and I'll use this for an example, like Viacom. MTV is a wild place. Viacom is a corporate place. When you go to interview, you're interviewing at Viacom. So you got to walk in and act like you're at Viacom, not that you're at MTV. And it's important to sort of understand that distinction. And there are a lot of times that I see people come in the door and I just want to go, No. No. You know, like you just want to take them in a corner and you want to be like, can you just fix this up? And you know, just because people just don't understand it's corporate. And I see that disconnect a lot. And I tend to see it more with minority students than white students or even Asian students. I see it with Black and Hispanic students more often. And I think that's a function that we don't have people in our lives that know to tell us that.
So Yvonne, I have a question. So how do you recommend that they do that without assimilating and integrating instead so that they don't lose who they are?
You have to figure out, so I'll give you a couple of examples how I see people do it. With guys, it's accepting that, you know, they wear button-up shirts, but they might wear the jeans and the funky sneakers. But the button-up shirt is your professional. Every guy I work with, and I work in content and programming, every guy I work with keeps a blazer.
Yep.
In his cube, in his office, because if you get caught in that impromptu situation where you have to have one for a meeting, you need a jacket that you can just throw on. Doesn't matter if you have on the jeans, but you need the button up in the jacket. With women, you have a little bit more leeway, but what you have to always remember is how short the skirt is, how low the top goes. You know, spaghetti straps are usually not really acceptable no matter how easy it is. And what I suggest is take the time to look at how people around you are dressed. If you have an interview and you're going someplace, I actually, when I was first looking for a job out of college, I would make it a point to try and find people who either worked at that place or did something like that. And you have a better thing because you have the internet. So you can actually like maybe go on the internet and look up pictures. I didn't have the internet, so I actually had to do a little legwork and, you know, maybe open some books at a library. But do the research on appearance and image, because you'd be amazed at how many yeses turn into no's just based on the way you looked.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that we keep coming back to is the value of you seeing, working with, connecting with other people. I just want to go around the table to ask you guys if you have opportunities for young folks to participate in some kind of event. Dan was talking about the Writers Workshop, but are there events, programs, conferences that you're hosting, sessions that you're doing where you think young people would really benefit from kind of showing up and participating and attending? We can start with Doris and just kind of go around the room.
Well, once a year, we're doing a small business entrepreneurship symposium that we invited high schools, and we're looking to do it again this year. I also work closely with Dan on a lot of his events, and so I'll be a part of that boot camp as well as Dean Davis. We do a lot of functions at City College. And let me just tell you, look up your local community college, because we're always doing something. So we have a few actual boot camps, entrepreneur classes that Dean Davis said is free, that you can be a part of as well.
Anything on the calendar that you want to mention?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Okay, just as a reminder, we have the West Coast Writers Conference, which is next weekend, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. On the 17th, it's in the afternoon. On the 18th and 19th, it's from, I think, about 9:30 in the morning. We will be having the Production Assistant Boot Camp coming up in July and or August. So as soon as we have more details on that, I will let you know. If any of you do decide to pursue writing a little bit more, every other Monday we do a screenplay critique group. But it's not only screenplays; it's any kind of written thing that you want to go over, and we'll be more than happy to have you. I'm gonna again toss to Robert and say that we might be doing a couple of shoots over the summer. And there might be opportunities available for people who want to be production assistants.
Or job shadowing.
Or job shadowing.
Position shadowing.
Yes.
So both of you ladies are a part of LA High Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yes, you are. Yes, you
Yes.
are.
Yeah, you're affiliated with Pierce.
So that's my baby. I wrote that grant. That was my vision. I'm so glad to see it come to fruition. We are developing industry orientation workshops. That's going to give you a lot of this information that you heard today. It's going to take place in the summer, and we're going to have industry partners to actually facilitate the workshops. And so you will be getting a calendar from your college partner. I believe it's Pierce College that's partnering with you. So you'll hear about those dates maybe within the next 2 weeks. So make sure when you hear about now write this down. It's the Institute for Integrated Academic and Career Pathways Industry Workshops. So when you hear about that, you want to participate because you're going to hear directly from folks like Creator Up. And Kevin, are you going to be a part of that? You're going to teach that as well? Yeah. And so just stay tuned for that. A lot of great benefits are coming to you through the LA High Tech Regional Collaborative.
Wow. I don't have anything directly for high school students other than college preparatory types of events, but this is what I would say. We at USC have just an amazing roster of alums who are giants in the film industry. When you speak to them, you find out that what they did was anytime that they could set their feet on campus at USC, they went to go find some professor that they could speak to, anybody that they could speak to, because the way that you get into these kinds of programs is because somebody remembers you, you know. So I don't care who it is, anybody walking on this campus, introduce yourself to them, you know, get their card, start emailing them, because if you aspire to go the college route, it's a matter of a great application, but advocacy does not hurt. So there are a lot of conferences that, you know, as a young person, even if there's a charge, take the initiative, find out who's putting that conference on, make a phone call. I bet they would let you in for free. Jay and I do Silicon Beach conferences. If we got a call from either one of you or any of you all, you could get to that conference. So
that's right.
Make
We
sure
charge you extra, but you could get there.
you get that.
Make sure you talk to Drew Casper if you go to USC. He was my mentor, and I'm still in contact with him 35 years after I graduated.
So my suggestion would be two things in terms of opportunities. Corporate America is a very vast place. And they do a lot, though, in community outreach, almost every major corporation. You should look for a couple things that people don't think about. Almost every Fortune 10 company, I believe, has a foundation. You know, AT&T has theirs. I know Coca-Cola has one. They have a foundation, and foundations are where you get scholarships.
Yep. Absolutely.
But they don't really advertise those scholarships. So you have to look for them. And pretty much every foundation from every corporate, you know, like Dell, like all these guys, they have scholarship money. But you're going to have to look for it. So keep in mind to look there for your scholarship money. The second thing, if you're looking for internships and opportunities, every company now has a chief diversity officer. Somebody who's in charge of the outreach programs. You want to find that department and you want to talk to those people, because they're the ones that will hook you up with the internal people who can actually get something done for you. Like I said, corporate America is vast, so if you don't get hooked into the right person, you'd end up talking a long time to just the wrong person that can't really help you. So if you go through the chief diversity group or through the diversity group, that group can at least put you in contact with the people who have the opportunities for you. So that would be my suggestions, is to go those routes, look in those areas, because it'll help you find the resources that you want. Because those resources might not be easy to come at just through the front door.
Sure. Well, you know, this school year in LAUSD is just about to come to a close next week, but we have some really exciting initiatives for next year. So, for example, in April of 2000, and I'm not sure what year you are, if you are, you know, rising seniors or juniors are actually graduating this year, but next year, April 2017, LAUSD will be hosting a film festival at the Academy of Motion Pictures right there on Wilshire. We had one you know, a year ago. It was fabulous. It's expanding next year because there will be professional filmmakers there working with students during the day, and then the actual presentations of film will be in the evening. Another thing I want you to stay in contact with Mr. Lemos about, because I will be sharing information. A lot of students don't realize that LAUSD has its own television station. It's a PBS station that's the 5th largest in the United States, where the content goes out to 18 million viewers a day. And until this year, it had no original content. So we're actually holding creative content development ideas with students so that we can actually start getting original content. We are producing a series of shows next year, and the young lady who said you're working with Bad Robot, I met with J.J. Abrams. I'll be stopping by to check in on you at Bad Robot because they are going to be working with us along with Warner Brothers in developing original content in this genre of edutainment that we are creating, a mix of education and entertainment. So we're looking for student interns to be involved with the development of these programs, and I will be sharing with Mr. Lemos and others around the district how students can get involved with these kinds of projects. But there's a series of other projects that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association as well as the Entertainment Industry Foundation is supporting LAUSD to provide for our students. So be on the lookout. Keep asking your teachers questions about opportunities that are coming down the pike, because a lot of times we put things out there from central office and I don't know what happens on the way of getting it to the schools and getting it to the students, but those who ask, they actually receive information.
Yeah.
Well said.
So a couple things. First, as you can hear from going around the table, there's a wonderful intern opportunity for essentially taking all this information and evangelizing it across Twitter and Yik Yak and Snapchat and all the places that you guys use that we've never heard of, right? Second thing, in terms of calendar and just organizations you should have on the radar. So Dr. Turner mentioned that we do every year a Silicon Beach at USC event. The next one will be on October 14th.
Yeah.
There may be a name change, but we focus on technology and media and entrepreneurship. So that's a thing that might actually be worth coming to USC for. There's a semi-annual conference called Digital Hollywood, which is now hosted at the Skirball Center. Digital Hollywood. Yeah, well, there'll be another one this fall, right? Great opportunity to meet more people. There is a Long Beach Independent Film Festival, I believe, which should be coming up August, which is another, because they, in addition to screening the films, they'll be doing panels and workshops and all that other stuff. It'll be a great opportunity for you to kind of meet content creators and to connect with folks who are on the business and organizational side, and a host of other things that go on in kind of not necessarily just the city of Los Angeles, but across the greater Los Angeles area that you should be aware of. Make sure when you have those opportunities to circulate, particularly if it's over a weekend or something like that, that you take advantage of it. Because again, going back to our point about meeting people, you get to see folks dressed as they normally dressed, talking the way they normally talk, and you may have an opportunity to make a personal connection where otherwise you wouldn't have access to those people, right? Those conferences, festivals, etc., very different environment than a fan festival, right? So big difference between going to E3 versus going to Comic-Con. Big difference between going to the Independent Film Festival or to Digital Hollywood as opposed to a weekend screening of Rocky Horror, right? So take advantage of those things. Try to look at your calendar and see what's going on. All right? Anything else that we want to share with these young people?
Well, I'd just like to say in closing, I'm really proud of these two young ladies. They had finals this week. I think one of them turned in their finals ahead of time.
Wow.
Great. Way to go.
And they're emblematic of the kind of students who are hungry for mentors and for guidance into getting into a career that they choose. And they want to be the people who I think want to be leaders and leading their other peers as to how they can learn from falling forward and falling upwards. So again, thank everybody for taking time out from their lunches. I know everybody lunch here. And again, thank you again for everybody that is listening out there. This is #Digital Mentorship. And again, Social Media Week LA, signing out. Thank you.
Fight on.
Thank you, Kevin.
I just want to say this will be up on YouTube. I'll send you guys all the link. Thank you guys very much. And there's also room behind the camera doing all the technology that makes this possible.
Right, that's Terrence. That's Terrence.
Wonderful.
Who's in
Hey,
Thank you, Terrence.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Very good.
All right.